Hey everyone, thanks for joining today. I wanted to take a moment with you and share about our subject for this month, which is how to optimize your website for maximum lead flow and conversions. And I'm going to share some important details through this presentation that I think will help you with your website. And this should be a good session for us. So, when we're talking about how to optimize, the first thing that we typically reference internally is our digital dominance method. And you may have seen this graphic before if you've been following us for any time. Is really our idea is that everything that you have should point back to your website. And so, whatever the traffic source is, everything should be leading there. That way, you can optimize your website to convert the best. So, for the next few minutes here, what I really need is your full attention. And what that means is turning off your cell phones. I just turned off mine. Turn off Facebook, uh, Instagram, TikTok, whatever platforms you're on, get free of those. And if you're serious about doubling or tripling the leads that come into your manufactured housing website, then this next hour or so here is going to be critical for you. So, who am I and why would you listen to me? I am the author of How to Win with Internet Marketing for Manufactured Housing. I've been ranked as one of the top 1% of marketers in the world, and I have a deep background in advertising and local marketing. Specifically, I've been in the MH industry since 2007. And so I've seen ups and downs and really have a lot of insight as to what marketing should look like for this industry. So when we talk about what we do, we focus on some core services and we break them into packages, but just at a service level, I'll tell you social media is one of our services, search engine optimization, pay-per-click advertising, overall marketing strategy, web design, and content marketing. So realistically, we are a full service ad agency that specializes in manufactured housing, and we can help you with as much or with as little as needed. So let's talk about what is the big problem when it comes to our websites and marketing in general. And the big problem is that it's an investment and it requires usually a big investment in marketing to get the needle moving. The next problem that comes into play then is that there's traffic, but not enough leads. So you've got traffic flowing to the website, but not enough people converting. And we see this all the time. I just looked at a website a few days ago that had a little over 2,000 people that had visited during a certain time frame, and out of those 2,000, only two of them converted into a lead. They have homes available. It's just the website's not really structured ideally for converting leads. So ultimately, what that leads to is a low return on investment, which means you have empty lots, you have empty homes, you have a community that's not reaching the occupancy level that you want it to have. So, without a good marketing strategy and without a good process in your marketing, most likely your marketing efforts are going to fail. And typically, what failure means is that you're putting more money in than what you're getting out of it. You can't seem to find a steady path for growth. Maybe one thing works and then it never works again. Or maybe it works for a long time and then all of a sudden one day it just dries up. But you never really have strategy, no real consistency, which makes sales hard. So with us, our focus is always on building great sites that look good, but that also are really built to convert. The conversion really is the most important part. I think for me personally, my background is in advertising and design, and so I really care a lot about the visual of what it looks like. But we frame all of that with the understanding that the conversion is what matters most. So, what we're looking for is a website that, regardless of the source, advertising, SEO, social media, whatever it is, that the traffic is coming in and that we're seeing a consistent pattern of conversion and that conversion is profitable for us. This helps us fill the community and it helps us have more happy residents because people that want to find us are finding us and they're finding homes. This is what allows us to create that momentum and have consistent growth and really fill the park. And without a consistent inflow of names, you're never really going to be able to achieve that. So, success, it's phones ringing, it's the business is booming, it's things are growing. That's what success should be, people to talk to. So again, our idea is that the website is really the hub around all of this activity. So whatever the source is that you're using, We've got people coming in, we're retargeting them on platforms, and it's just kind of circling them over and over and over again through. So you may ask, why is conversion so important? So I wanted to give two scenarios here. So scenario one, we'll kind of walk down both scenarios, 1,500 visits. The first scenario, a 5% conversion. And what the conversion means is that they're taking action. So they're either, like in this case, we've set it up for call ins. So 5% versus a 15%. And you see the difference in the calls. And then out of those, how many of them convert into sales? And so even that conversion, the call conversion can be the same. The website conversion in this scenario is the only thing that changes. And you see it triples the amount of leads and the amount of revenue, everything else being consistent. So website conversion really does matter. We need to be able to move people to fill out a contact form, to make a call, to take that next action. And so when we look at this, what the question really is, does conversion optimization, can it really have an impact? And absolutely it can. We can see big increases from the same traffic you have now. So it may not really even require a bigger investment in your outbound marketing. It could just be the optimization. And then you see substantial growth simply by getting your website right. And so I want to take this moment to say, there is a workbook for this. And if you haven't downloaded it yet, there should be a link somewhere around this video where you can download the workbook so that you have this information available to you as well and can walk through it at your own pace. So just make sure that you do that. All right, so let's talk about the critical elements that enhance conversion. And so I'm just going to talk through this list and address them separately. So number one, speak to your target avatar. An avatar is like your target person. So what are their fears? What are their frustrations? What keeps them up at night? Why should they choose you over some other community? The second thing is be real. When you can, use authentic images of your team, of your community, of your amenities, of your homes, and scatter those throughout the website. I understand that sometimes that may be hard to get, and so you can use stock photos, but I would say the goal should always be to replace those stock photos with real ones. Number three, use video or multimedia elements to engage different modalities. And different elements are going to reach people different ways. Some people will watch video, some won't. So you want to have a mix of ways of connecting with people, and video is a great way for them to feel like they're immersed in it. So like video walkthroughs of homes, walkthroughs of communities, things like that are all very useful. Some sort of website welcome video is also handy. And this could be a community manager or a property owner that is just saying, hey, welcome to Wheel Estates. We're glad that you visited our website, and you're going to find this community to be a community that is very involved, and that we know each other, and we really do see each other as family, and we want to be close, like whatever the message is. Some sort of welcome. A video that talks about what you offer at the community. Are you homes for sale? Are you homes for rent? Are you both? Are you park owned homes? What is it? Just a video that explains that piece of it. Next, a video explaining why someone should contact you versus the competition. This one can be really simple. Each community is going to have benefits, and so talk about those benefits. If you have easy access to major highways, talk about that because there may be other communities in the area that don't have that. So be sure and mention that. Next, leverage social proof. Showcase your online reviews when you can. So you can use third-party tools like Birdeye or ReviewBuzz to capture those and get them, but share those reviews. When a resident is happy, make that a big deal and share that everywhere that you can. I think one of the most important things with the website is to get the basics in order and to make sure that you have the fundamental elements. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in a moment. Here's some ideas. Phone number in the top right corner of the page, of every page. Make sure that there's a form that people can fill out to request more information, and make sure somebody responds to those inquiries. You can add credibility to the website by posting associations and things that you're a part of. I think the main thing is you want a clear call to action on each page that speaks to that customer avatar, and then is telling them exactly what to do next. So most websites just have a contact form. It's like, contact us if you want to, don't contact us if you don't, whatever. but to really have the next action. So when somebody is on a page looking at a home, to say, hey, the next step is to click this button and complete this form, and a member of our team will contact you to schedule your home tour. Or click this button to access my calendar and pick a time that works for you. Like, to be very specific in what you want them to do next. Utilizing special offers or coupon discount type things, that's always a handy thing to have as well. You could do that with a timed pop-up. So after they've been on the website for a certain amount of time, they get that offer, things like that. Make sure the website is mobile optimized and that everything works well on a mobile phone. Use live chat on the website. And we talked about this just a moment ago. The option to book appointments online, I think, is critical these days. Understand that how fast your site load, that really does matter. And engage with people through text messaging, on the phone, email. Leverage automation as much as you can, and it will help you. So what is the one element that will have the biggest impact on the results of your overall marketing efforts? And it is conversion. And so how do we optimize for that? I start by asking myself this question: is the website set up to convert visitors to calls or forms? And you should have some sort of report that you can look at that will show you your current numbers. If you don't have that, that's something to get, so that you have a benchmark. It may look something like one of these, and it will let you see how many people are converting and currently in the current structure. So again, so that you have something to benchmark against and compare with. So how can we get your website to convert better than what it currently does? This is a formula that we use. You may want to pause this and look at this later, look at it in the workbook, but this really gives you the fundamentals of what you need in the website. Logo prominently placed, easy to access navigation, phone number in the top right corner, link to social pages, responsive on social media, reviews and testimonials showing, address, a map, a chat widget. A lot of these things here, these are what you're going to need to help your website convert better and better and better. So the way I always say that is our made up customer, John Jones or Joe Jones. If you can see Joe Jones through Joe Jones's eyes, then you can sell what Joe Jones wants to buy. So you're trying to look at it the way the prospect really wants to see it and build it for them. So I always tell people, if you're not sure, start with a avatar sheet and create your own Joe Jones. And what are Joe's pains? What are his frustrations? What are his fears? What are his goals? What are his dreams? Those sorts of things. You may say fears. Well, this is an example of what I would mean by that. So maybe Joe is afraid that he's in an apartment currently, and if he doesn't find another place to live, he's going to have to renew his apartment lease, and his wife has already told him that she wants out of the apartment. Or maybe it's that he's going to renew and they've already told him that his rent's going to go up $300 a month, and he doesn't know how he's going to afford that because he can't really afford it. Those are fears. Like, we're thinking those things that might be keeping him up at night. What are his dreams? And most of the time, the dream could revolve around something like he wants to have a place of his own. Like, that's the dream. Or he wants to have a place where, his family can be together. So who is your ideal customer avatar? What do they look like? That's really the question you want to start with, and get an understanding of what your target market wants. You want to be real and authentic with them. You want them to see a real picture, not some perfectly assembled visual that isn't representative of what the community is. So one of the things we talk a lot about internally is what we call ad scent, like the smell of it. And basically what that means is, through the process, from the first time a prospect sees you till they're on site, you want everything to kind of sync up. If anything's off, they're going to smell that, and that'll be enough to get them to not do business with you. So for example, if you run an ad saying, hey, we sell homes starting at 100,000, and then they go to the website and all they see is homes available for rent, that throws them off because it doesn't match the ad message. Or maybe they get there and they see homes for sale, but the cheapest home is 150,000. And like, well, the ad said 100. That's enough to throw them off. They're looking for a reason to not contact. Leverage the video and the multimedia. Leverage social media and social proof, and use that as well. Make sure that you're getting the fundamentals right on your website. Again, that graphic that I shared just a moment ago. Use those special offers and make sure they match what they're interested in. If somebody clicked on an ad about buying a home, showing them a special offer for rental may not really move the needle for them. And flip side, they click on a rental ad, an ad about, save when you buy a home, probably, or, a special offer won't really speak to them. Make sure the site's mobile friendly. Like a little over 70% of traffic now is typically mobile. So it's incredibly important. A click to call button. So they can just click on the phone number. Since we know that most of the time they're on mobile, make it where they can click and then it calls right away. And I would say consider using live chat on the website. Uh, Many of the studies out there now are saying that we're consistently seeing increases of about 35% when chat is available. So something important to consider. So again, key ideas: are you using real and authentic images on the website? Use video, have a welcome video, explain your services, show why somebody should work with you versus the competition, why they should buy a home with you. If you're a part of organizations or anything like that, BBB, list that kind of thing. Share reviews. Make sure that the phone number is easy to find, and leverage special offers. All of that's going to be helpful. So, if you were to pick right now, this implementation and things we're talking about, that all of these things can have a positive impact, I would encourage you to pick 3 things that you've heard me talk about that you say, I want to get that implemented in the next 30 days. Maybe you say, I want to make sure my website's on the top right corner. I want to make sure I have a chat widget, and I'm going to create a welcome video. Maybe that's the 3 things, but pick 3 things that you can focus on that you say, hey, I think I could accomplish that to get done over the next 30 days, and then do it again after that. But really, right now, focus on these 30 days. So I take this moment to just ask, what are you going to implement as a function of what you're learning today? What are the 3 things that you can take and put into your website to help you improve? The biggest issue facing most MH communities is unconverted leads. And here's the problem: 50 to 60% of leads leave without being converted. 90% of web forms fail to convert. These are big numbers. And so when you're working this way, you have to get efficient, and you want to leverage tools and automations and things like that to help. So here's why we have these conversion problems. Leads that are not followed up on within 15 minutes go cold. The average customer must be followed up with 5 to 7 times before booking. And today's consumer prefers to interact via text message versus phone call or email. We send thousands and thousands of emails and text messages a month, and deal with calls. And I can tell you that this is consistently true. People respond better when you text them than when you call them, and certainly when you email them. So the solution, what does that look like? You want to leverage marketing automation to follow up with them within the first 2 minutes of submitting a form. You want to automate the follow up so that every prospect is touched at least 5 times and that they can engage in text messaging with you. That's what's critical. So again, it's simple math. We look at 100 leads coming in, a conversion rate from 3% currently to a conversion rate that uses automated follow-up, and it pushes it to 10%. That leads to 4 additional home tours. You're doubling your revenue simply by improving that conversion rate. So if we start with the website and really start getting that dialed in, now we're talking process on the follow-up, and follow up heavily. We typically tell people we want to follow up for 12 months. And, it's heavy for the first couple of weeks, a lot of follow up for the first 2 weeks or so. And then it gets lighter. But the leads are telling us, all of the data tells us that it's going to take a lot of touches. And I see it all the time. I looked at a lead this morning, a lead that came in last November, and there was follow up, but they didn't move forward. Then there's months with no communication. And randomly 2 days ago, that lead pops up again and they say, hey, I'm interested. So it's following up. It's keeping them informed until they tell you to leave them alone. This makes every lead you generate more valuable because you're following up with everyone the same way. You're not cherry picking which ones are going to follow up with and which ones you aren't. So let's talk about implementing this. So We've hit on the website and a lot of these items, the target avatar, using images that are appropriate, using video, a lot of leveraging all of that stuff. And so you're working through those pieces. And now I'm just going to address a few of the questions that I typically get about this. If you ever want to reach out to us just to have a conversation, it doesn't mean that you're going to do business with us. We are here to educate. So you can give us a call. You can also text that number, and a member of my team will reply. You can visit our website and fill out a form there. Again, a member of my team will reply, and we can schedule a time to talk about your community, your business, and help you really diagnose what your exact challenges are. So some of the questions that I typically get when we talk conversion is, one, the question I feel like I've already answered is the does it really matter question. And absolutely it does. We see it time and time again. Websites that are not designed to convert, you can drive traffic to them and it doesn't get better. The numbers stay consistent. So increasing traffic, you may get more leads because you increase more traffic, but you're spending more money. So we always like to think in terms of what's the return. And if we can spend money and effort optimizing a website and double that conversion rate, well, you need half the traffic to get the same result you used to get. So now if you're getting the same traffic, then you're talking about like doubling the amount of leads that you get from it. So it is incredibly important. It really does matter. I get questions about where to send people. I think a lot of people stay away from sending traffic to their website because of this conversion issue. They feel like nothing happens, so they don't want to send them there. So fix your home base. Make sure that it is functioning as good as it can, or as well as it can. Make sure that it's doing that. And then you monitor your traffic using some sort of reporting, and monitor that and see how it's performing, and then continue to optimize from there. Optimization is never a process that's finished. It's always in the works. You're always looking to improve and make things better. So this is a project. It's not that you will constantly be working on it, but I would say that you want to touch the optimization page regularly and just look at it and watch for trends in your data. Um, Speaking of data, people ask questions about how do we do that? So one of the best things that you can do for tracking, if you don't have Google Analytics on your website already, get that on there. I've seen studies that say that businesses that have Google Analytics on their website typically convert like 60% better than websites that don't. It's not because of Google Analytics, but I think what it is it's giving you the data so that you can make these decisions. So there's other platforms. If you want to use another one, there's others. But I think Google Analytics is a great platform to use. It gives you a ton of data. You will see how much time people spend on your website. And that's one thing I haven't referenced. And we'll talk about that in a moment when we get to images. We'll do that next. But you get to see what pages do they visit? How long do they stay? Where did they come from? What pages did they look at on your website? You get lots of data that can help you in these decision-making processes. So another question that I get is about the images and the video content. We can't do that. We don't have someone. What do we do if we don't have images of the community? Those sorts of questions. So my answer to that is always, if you have nothing, start with stock photos. Okay. But work on a plan to get those images. You can hire a photographer to come out for a couple of hours or maybe an hour, and they'll take plenty of photos that you can take and then use of the community. And or hire someone to fly a drone over, things like that. You can use a local person to do that. Or you can just have your manager go out and take photos. I think there's this perception that the photos always have to be like super high quality and that they have to be professional. A lot of times the images that look a little more amateur perform better than the professional images. So don't let that be a deterrent. If that's the best you can do, then do that and start with those, and then just always be working to improve them. But again, you can test. Maybe you have a shot of the community entrance that your manager takes and you use that. And then you have somebody come out and do a professional shot. And then same thing, split test it, see which one performs better, and then use the one that performs better. I think all of these elements are things that we need to test and that we need to we need to be trying out to see what's going to work best for us. Same thing with video. Once you've got a video running, now you've got some baseline numbers. If you can improve it, then you test the improved, or what you believe to be the improved version, test it and see how does it perform. Just, it's a constant split testing to see what's going to help you squeeze out another 1/4% of conversion, or half, or a 1% conversion, because the end result of that is gigantic for the community, and it makes things much easier. I think one of the things that I hear from people is they're unhappy with what their photos look like. So they're not sure where to start. They're like, I don't know, that sort of thing. So I always encourage people, if your community has events, start at events, start taking pictures at events, share those photos on social media. I think these days, a lot of people use social media to verify that the business is what it says it is and that it's still in business. So we'll use Facebook as the example, but it would apply to all platforms. You've got a website. Let's say that you have a community barbecue and you get a bunch of photos. Post those to Facebook. Thank people for participating. Post them to the community page. Thank people for participating. Tag people. If you have their Facebook IDs, tag them on there. Try and use that as a way to create interest, and then incorporate those photos into parts of your website. And that's a good place to start. And it's fairly easy to get started that way, and just grow from there. And like I said earlier, the feedback is typically, well, they don't look all that professional. I think that's better, especially in those cases, because you want it to feel natural, and you want people to get a feel for what the community's like, because they can look at a photo and see, hey, that guy, he's like me. Whereas with a stock photo, they may not get that feeling. And so you want to think that way. I think stock photos, a lot of times, they're just too put together. They look too perfect, and that's not real life. So I would say that is also important. I get a lot of questions about chat and how to approach that. There's all kinds of different chat widgets out there. There's services. If you Google chat widget, you'll find a bunch of companies that offer that. Um, Lead Crossing, we have a chat widget through our marketing automation platform. So we have one that can be used. I would say the main thing is, with the chat widget, you want it to be able to capture information and communicate with people. Live chat is better, but if you can't do live chat, you can do AI. I think the lowest form of chat widget is the one that just captures your information and says that somebody will contact you. That's not really a chat widget to me, but um, we typically start with AI. And then when the person engages and they ask questions, we hand it off to a real person. So that's typically the way that we like to do it. And our recommendation is for that handoff to be with the community manager or whoever your community representative is. I think that's better than having just like a chat agent that deals with it, because the manager can answer specific questions. So, you can find a service that works for you, one that you like, and price point wise that fits for you. I would encourage you to reach out to us, because it's going to be a better deal for you than what anybody else is going to offer you. But use whatever you want. But I do think that's important. Um, it's surprising to me, as I talk with people about modifying their websites and redesigns and things like that. It's surprising to me the number of people that make it hard for consumers to contact them. And by that, what I mean is, they don't have a contact form. Like, it's just, hey, click here to email us, or you can't find a phone number. It's like they make it really difficult. And so my first advice when people start asking me about that is, yeah, make sure that there is an actual form to fill out, and that form goes to a real person, so that someone will be responsible for following up with them. On the phone number thing, make it prominent. Make it so it's easy to call. And if you accept text messages on that number, if it's a number that can get text messages, say that on the website, call or text, and people will do that. So I think making that very prominent is an important thing for us to do. So, in your specific situation with your website, you may have some questions, or you may just want another set of eyes to look at it. One thing we didn't talk about was the search optimization and what role that plays with conversion. If you're curious about that, my team can do some background reporting and auditing for you to tell you a little bit more about how you look currently to an outsider. And we'd be happy to do that at no charge. So if you're ever interested in that, like I said, you can call or text this number, 817-662-2048, or you can visit our website and fill out a contact form there, and a member of our team will follow up. But I would highly encourage you to just text us at this number, and we'll follow up with you and get something scheduled. And so we can look at your site, and then we can give you some very specific feedback on what you should do next. So I just want to say thanks to everyone for hopping on today. I appreciate your time and watching this video. Uh, like I said earlier, find 3 things that we covered inside of optimization and conversion that you can implement over the next 30 days, and you're going to see an improvement in your numbers. So thanks, everyone, and we'll talk soon.